Batman Urban Legends issue 4. So the other big weird Bat book. Well, this is all obviously set present day. Variety of stories in here, continuing some of the ongoing stuff. This is good. I have to admit. I thought both this and the Grifter story. Not that I'm saying the middle stories are bad, but both this and the Grifter story I thought had good chapters this week.
Because it feels like those are the main two stories, and everything else is, I don't want to call it filler, but they don't get the priority.
Well, no, I didn't mean compared to that. I meant compared to the last chapters, though. So just on their own arcs, I think these were too good.
No, well, that's what I mean too. Yeah. I think from the beginning we felt that the middle two stories always they pale in comparison to the Teardrop and the Grifter, just because of the, I don't know.
They're full-sized issues. They're full-size miniseries, effectively.
They feel like a full book. The other ones feel like anthology stories that they're dropping here.
A little bit of benefit of the doubt this time in that Batwing story falls into what the other ones have been, but the Tim Drake one is part 1 of 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that might develop into more of an actual story as opposed to some of the other ones in the middle.
Yeah. So there's a lot of flashbacks here in this Jason story, which I actually thought were used very effectively, and I thought the way it transitioned into and out of the flashbacks at points in the art was very, very smart, and how the story flowed in and out of them. But mostly I just loved the art on Mr. Freeze. I loved kind of just how dangerous the freeze gun was, and kind of like, like like the second page of this freeze fight where Jason falls through the floor. Like it's just this giant beam of like ice light coming down through the floor. It feels like how dangerous this actually truly is. I think as much as I love sympathetic Mr. Freeze in a lot of ways because it does work really well, there's also the idea of this Mr. Freeze stalking you through a building, and you can hear the modulation on his voice like coming through the helmet, and he's got the red eyes sort of glowing like he's a proper horror movie villain in a lot of ways.
It's creepy and it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. Mr. Freeze is cool.
I was good. Yeah, I realized it's creepy and he's cool.
Oh, very good. So yeah, and even just this idea that he's trapped, where Freeze has actually frozen up all the exits of this building, so he's actually trapped in there with them. Again,
and also guns don't work.
Yeah,
it's too cold, which I like. That's a nice, nice twist. Fighting.
And
Mr. Freeze.
The flashback story, of course, is Jason as Robin. Like they're investigating something that his mum's involved in, so he actually goes down and gets involved. And Batman's told him to stay back, and Joker's involved here as well. So it gets really dark very quickly. Of course, Jason makes the wrong choice and goes in head first. And we have basically Jason yelling for help to Oracle, yelling for Batman, and Babs tells Batman where he is, and even makes a point of saying, "Hey, he asked for Batman, not Bruce." And Batman's like, I'm coming, son, kind of thing. But this is where it transitions wonderfully into the flashback, because it transitions into Batman in the past racing to young Jason at this Joker incident, and this building's just on fire, and we have him finding the body of the mother and like holding Jason in his arms. And then it cuts back to present, and we get this cool ass car chase sequence where Freeze is in like a freeze truck, and there's like ice explosions happening in front of Batman as he's like speeding down the road,
and a frozen Jason thrown from the explosion.
Yeah, I thought that was really hilarious. Funny. I mean, the art here's a lot of fun. The only complaint I really have is that one panel of Batman using the grapple hook where his body looks really weird,
out of proportion.
Yeah,
he almost looks like he should be in Batman Detective. He's a chonky boy here.
Yeah. The frozen Red Hood, statue, as it were, flying out the back of the truck is really funny.
It is. And then the way it just lands, it just lies there.
Yeah. So it's really good stuff. And then you have these thugs come up from behind to shoot him. And Batman
lets Freeze get away to come and rescue Jason.
Yeah. So it's much like we said, but this is probably the best issue or the best chapter of this story since the first one, because it has a lot of what that first one had, which was this heart. So this heart about how much Batman cares about Jason, despite all the disagreements, despite all the conflicts they have. The idea that Barbara frantically tells him, no, he asked for Batman, he needs help, he's in trouble, and
the idea this is being intercut with a retelling of Death in the Family, Batman's greatest failure.
Well, and I like too that when you get whiny Jason, it's that Batman left me to die, Yet here, Zdarsky's turning that on. Jason's like, I should have listened. I didn't listen. I ended up there. So it shows some maturity.
Yes, he's still making the same mistakes, but at least this time he's like, yeah, I'm still making the same mistake. What am I doing? Yeah, I was actually surprised I didn't get to like actual crowbar territory. I was expecting to see some of it.
No, I'm glad that they showed some. Some restraint here.
I like what they did, because we all know the crowbar. We all know what story this was telling anyway. You don't need to have the crowbar there. It's kind of overdone in the same way. It's like the pearls. So I don't need to see the pearls anymore.
Oh, of course.
So this was more effective.
I actually didn't get it at first. Like, I didn't get it from the first scene that it was doing Death to the Family. It wasn't until like he went to go see her. I was, oh wait, I'm just occurring to me now which story this is, what memory this is. And then of course, it plays out with the big, holding him in his arms and all the rest of it. The cliffhanger though is that as Batman's saying he's going to help Jason, as Jason's sort of barely getting any words out because he's shivering and freezing, Batman gets hit with the freeze ray, and Freeze is standing next to the guy responsible for this drug that he's been tracking down since the start. So this Cheer drug. So, and this character presumably is also called Cheer.
That's what I'm guessing.
I'm going to assume so, especially the story's called Cheer as well. Yeah. So,
and also just because he has a big, it's almost like he's like he looked at the Watchmen button and said, I wanted that to be my character. So he's painted his face yellow with a black smile.
Well, and there's like, it's not quite a Joker smile.
No.
But it's a big, creepy smile.
Do you know what it reminds me of?
What?
The visual of the smile there is Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas.
On his suit, right?
Yeah, on his suit.
Because the colours are flipped on the suit. Well, actually, they're not really. They're actually the same, but it's just because it's much bigger. It feels flipped.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looks alright, honestly. I think he's a fine enough design for...
Yeah, it looks fun.
A one-off villain, presumably. So, Freeze looks great, though. Look how great Freeze looks there on that last page, with the kind of the silhouette with just the red eyes glowing and the blue ice behind them.
So good.
Yeah. Hard to mess that up. So... so this time he's actually screwed up Batman's. So just for anyone who was, hasn't been following this along, this was Chip Zdarsky writing with Eddie Barrows on art, like it has been for all the chapters.
Eddie Barrows and Eva Ferreira on the main art, and then Marcus Toe on the flashback.
Of course, the flashbacks have a different art. Yeah, of course. So, really good. What are you rating this first story, Matt?
I'm gonna give this an 8.
Connor?
Yeah, I'll agree with the 8.
I will also agree with the 8. Really solid stuff. So cool. This is like the Batwing story, and this is where it's called Superman Punch. So I feel like there's a lot of opportunity here for Matt to tangent into wrestling related jokes. So Batwing's chasing down Riddler. Riddler hits him with a bunch of riddles. And there's a whole AM PM thing. It's like what separates the M, but keeps them connects them as well.
And again, I like that this does more with the Luke, and this is what made me realize that Jason's older than Luke. Was the story here?
Of course, yes. I think that's where I learned this too. Yeah.
Yeah. So, he goes. He remembers, going and asking him, to help with the Superman punch, which I think is good because when we were first introduced to Luke Fox, he was an MMA fighter, right? So the fact, like, of course, that's what he's doing while his brother is like actually studying and stuff. So basically they trade information, right? Like, hey, can you show me how to do this? I'll help you with your homework. And it just shows the bonds of brotherhood here. And it allows him to figure out the riddle before Riddler wants him to, and where he surprises him with Killer Croc, which I thought was a fun little surprise. And
basically from there, they fight it for a bit, but he's able to sort of talk Croc down.
Yeah.
Croc's like, I don't really want to be doing this. It's like, if you lead me to where Riddler is, I'll give you a head start, because you've served your time. Because he says, I've done my time in Suicide Squad. He has actually served his time for what he's done in the past. So, and of course he wins the fight ultimately with the Superman punch, which is where it comes into it.
You fake the knee and lean into the punch.
Yes.
So,
It actually is the Superman punch from wrestling, which is...
It's actually an MMA move. Like you get it to
Oh, really?
go around
Okay.
someone's guard. Yeah. It's based off a real, like, you know, it sounds cooler than it is. I mean, it's basically a feint technique to break your opponent's guard. But yeah,
someone gave it a cool name, so
yeah,
it's stuck.
I mean, Conor McGregor was really good at it back when he was at the height of his. Yeah, so.
Which is funny to me because it makes me it's like in the way that Happy Gilmore does the run up for a swing.
Yeah,
it's kind of like doing an extra little like move for momentum for the punch to me. When I see it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you get them to drop because they focus on the knee, and then you punch through an elevated thing. So I like here because that's kind of what he does here. It's at the end, it's a feint. He sends Croc back to Riddler, you know,
who seemingly chases him like a dog. On all fours.
Yes.
Hilarious.
That was weird.
Yeah. I have a problem with it. I thought this
says, "You're my get out of jail free card, Ed. Come here." Like, there's the creepy connotation.
It's like with the big tongue, like wagging. It's like it looks like a dog.
Yeah.
It's just a strange choice.
It's actually kind of funny just how many short stories we got this week that all tie into the ongoing story that Ridley's doing with Jace and the Fox family, and like there's so many little parts of it sprinkled around this week.
This is interesting as well because written by Cameron Johnson, who I believe is the guy who is the actor of Luke Fox on the Batwoman show.
I was actually just scrolling back to try and find out because I knew it wasn't Ridley because I knew this one stuck out because it wasn't Ridley who wrote this one. But yeah, that's the actor from the show.
Yeah, this is the counterpart to the Nicole Maines Dreamer story that we got in the Pride issue.
Well, that's pretty cool.
But what's funny is that this is so in continuity with everything that's going on in the comic versus the Nicole Maines one, which was like, no, this is just in the show, it's separate. Whereas this is Luke in the comics right now, and it ties into everything going on with his family.
Is he doing a lot of Batwing stuff right now?
The actor?
No, like Luke in continuity. No. I've not really seen him.
Well, he
shows up to yell at Jace for not being part of the family.
Yeah, he was Batwing in the next Batman last issue I read. So he has popped up as Batwing recently.
This is what I mean. I can't remember the last time I saw him as Batwing.
But even if he hadn't been, like the idea of like this tying into the family stuff and his relationship with his brother, like it's still relevant to everything going on. So
I agree.
Yeah. So that's kind of neat. At the very least, if you are encountering all these different stories, it does feel like they're building something. So
very cohesive.
What are you giving this short?
I'm gonna give this one 7.5.
Claire?
Just a 7 from me. It's good.
Yeah, I'll give it 7 too. It's good. Yeah, I enjoyed reading it. It added some stuff to the overall tapestry. Nice. Then we have a Tim Drake story called "Some of Our Parts." This is part 1 of 3. Megan Fitzmartin writing with Bilan Ortega on art, and you could tell I haven't read the long-running Tim Drake solo series that happened back in the day, because when a character showed up later in this issue, I went, "Who is this asshole?" And then there was a little editor's note saying, "Last appeared in issue 140 of Robin." I'm like, wait, what? Jesus Christ, that's going back.
That is going back. That's a deep cut, that one.
Yeah. And this is kind of one of these things, though, that as much as I didn't get it myself, I'm like, you know what? I'm happy for all those long-time Tim Drake fans who read that entire run, who got this when they met this character.
And also, I don't think it matters. Now, in terms of this story, I don't think it was her if you didn't.
Oh, no. In terms of this story, it doesn't matter. But in terms of
that the writer went in, found a character.
In terms of DC letting writers go back to continuity like this, I think it is important, but not.
No, it's important. I meant it's not important if you haven't read it. Like you're not hurt by being out of the loop or anything like that.
Yeah. So. Yeah, basically there's teenagers being kidnapped in Gotham. Tim's looking into it. There's even some Oracle stuff here. So again, current status quo, Oracle contacting all the Bat family members in Gotham. And even a little joke here about, I'm not calling you Drake, what are you going by? So a little dig there at the crappy name. Yeah. Hard not to enjoy that. So Tim's looking into all this, but he's meeting up with a friend for dinner, and turns out it's this guy named Bernard who's from his solo run. From back in the day, and they're catching up and all the rest of it, but of course the suspect behind these kidnappings, which is this was it something chaos demon
no chaos shoot
chaos Monster? Chaos Bastard?
Chaos Monster.
Chaos Monster.
That's what it is.
There you go. Yeah, it is.
Stop the Chaos Monster.
And the cliffhanger is kind of obvious where it's going here, is that his friend, is the one who gets kidnapped next. So he's got a personal stake in stopping this and finding the bad guy. The Chaos Monster's got a really interesting mask design. He's got like horns kind of on there. Interesting design, I'll say.
Yeah. Got a bunch of dots up there and stuff too. Like, it's definitely unique.
What eyes is what they are, I'm assuming.
That makes sense.
I mean, you two are the bigger Tim fans. I mean, were you guys happy with this?
It's fine.
I'm not unhappy with it. It's not like a particularly amazing Tim story. But like I said, it's like 7 or 8 pages, if that.
Yeah.
Maybe 10.
And it's nice that they're getting away from the whole Drake thing, that he could be Robin and not Red Robin. Because I like that they point that out. He's like, well, it's not like Damien's using it right now. So,
it's fine. I don't think it's like, it's not like this is why we've been missing Tim. It's not like a really strong Tim story, at least not yet. Maybe it will be by the end.
Yeah.
As for what we got in this issue, I like it more than what we got from that first issue of the Future State by the same writer. So
that's fair. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. I probably like the Batwing. Out of the middle stories, I probably like the Batwing a little bit more though. It felt more, I don't know, relevant in context, but I'm not mad at Tim getting to be around Gotham and also be in the loop with Oracle and solving crimes, even if the crime as of yet is not as interesting.
So apparently this guy back in the day in the old Tim books was a huge conspiracy theorist when it came to Batman, because he noticed that he had all these different partners, and that to him Batman was stealing from orphanages to make Robins. So, yeah, he says he has a secret theory that Batman owns secret orphanages through which he selects children to become Robin when the previous one dies, as well as Batman working for a secret shadowy government that runs everything. So, it seems like they just, instead of just making a new friend, they just pulled it from Tim's history, which is cool. Right?
Yeah, no.
It's easier for everyone. Easier for the writers and the artists. They got ready-made design and character template ready to go. Editorial just have to go, yes, sure, and then fans of that character are like, oh hey, we get them back. Everyone wins, right?
Very much. All right, so the final story. Well, actually, we're rating this. I should rate it.
Sure.
Matt, what are you rating it?
I give this a 7.
Connor?
Same.
Yeah, I'll give it a 7. All right, final story. Grifter. The tease that he's actually meant to be killing Lucius ultimately is obviously there, but we find out the cliffhanger with Deathstroke was a bit of a cop-out in the sense that this fight is a charade where Grifter has paid Slade to come and fake fight him so that it'll draw out Batman, and he set a trap for Batman. He's got these chambers ready for Batman entering, like
you do for a bug or a mouse. And it doesn't go well for old Grifter, which is one of my favorite things so far, that he is a character that every time he has a plan, you can almost count on it that he's going to screw it up somehow.
I mean, I like these caucuses, but I like the dialogue where he's he's talking to the person on the comms and he's like, oh, you're about to owe me money because Slade isn't going to kill me. And even after it was revealed that this was all a plan by his and he paid Slade off, he's like, I'm not going to accept I've lost this bet yet. He still might kill you. That banter back and forth I was enjoying. And then Deathstroke saying this wasn't going to work, and then they hear a noise and they've trapped something in the tank. And he's like, see, I'm about to win more money. More people losing bets. And then of course the punch comes out and it's actually Superman who's in the tank.
I love the idea that Superman's so just casual. He doesn't check the doorways like Batman clearly would have done.
Yes.
Right. He just flies in and is like, oh shit, all right, I guess I'll just punch my way out of this.
It's because it's just a metal tube. And then I love that Deathstroke's like, yep, definitely not paid enough to deal with this. See you later.
I'm out.
Good luck. Yeah.
And the sort of joke in the back half of it is that there's these assassins show up at the party that's at Wayne Enterprises, and they come after Lucius, and Lucius is trapped in the balcony. And there's kind of this countdown thing where Grifter's trying to get away from Superman. He's on the run from him. Obviously, his minutes are numbered here. But they've got teleportation tech. He tries to teleport him to Wayne Enterprises, but because Wayne Enterprises have got anti-teleportation tech installed, it doesn't work, and he just beams back to where he was, and he's like, shit, I'm still being chased by Superman. So that's a kind of a funny beat in and of itself. And then it takes time to charge back up, so he has to wait, and he can't just do it. So he says, like, okay, send in Z. And I'm like, wait, Zatanna? Like, he's got Zatanna?
No.
And yeah, so the big reveal is that he's got this, I assume it's another Wildstorm character, yeah.
Former member of the Wildcats. So it almost feels like that Rosenberg is a real big fan of this era, and he's doing his version of it, which is real cool. I'm happy for him.
Absolutely, he's and Grifter's trying to steal Superman, but like shooting at a monorail train to fall down, so Superman has to go save that first, and then so there's a lot of like just fun action as he's trying to stall, and the joke at the end is that Bruce actually is too late, but this other character here.
Interesting as well, because his override clearance was denied.
Yes, that maybe is an important little plot beat that'll come back up. But the Zealot just stabs the assassin, and very, very matter. And this is so a 90s character. Look at those like lines on her face,
and then just jumps off the roof.
Yeah, and jumps off the roof.
Which I remember seeing in Solicit something about Zealot. So kind of when they said Z, I was like, okay, we're getting Zealot. So
your main jump there, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if Voodoo's gonna show up at some point. Maybe that's who he's talking to.
Oh, maybe.
On the other end, and there's Spartan, and then there's the guy that's not Wolverine. There's clearly Wolverine.
What that succeeded in was that the action was always fun. Like, Grifter on the back of this taxi, trying to buy time as Superman's chasing him, just teleporting away in the nick of time. And then just the joke of Bruce like coming out the window and be like, I'm here, and Lucius is like, you're a bit late, Bruce. Already dealt with the assassin. There was the constant like momentum and comedy to the whole thing, and that's when this Grifter story's been at its best. When it has to slow down to do exposition, like last part is, that's where it feels a little bit weaker. I think this issue, because it was just constant entertaining like hijinks and tension and suspense.
Yeah,
that's where
it's kind of
excels.
a shame that next issue is the last one, right? For this story.
It's a 5-parter.
Yeah.
So,
but I almost feel like there's gonna be more Grifter stuff coming, just because it seems to be well received.
For sure, and Batman tells Superman to leave at the end. That's the ending, because he's onto this Grifter stuff now, and Lucius even is aware that he's stolen some data. It's like, okay, this is wrapping up now. So, it was a fun time though. Art's good. Art might even be the best in the issue. It might beat the art from that first story.
Yeah, maybe.
I think the action
both really solid.
The action is really good in this, the way it's drawn, the momentum of it, and the layouts. So
I think it beats the present day art from the first story for me, but I think the flashback art is stronger.
All right. I can see that. Even though there was all that great stuff with Mr. Freeze, I think the art quality here's just a little bit higher. But I mean, it's down to taste a little bit, I suppose. All right, Matt, what are you giving the Grifter story?
I'm gonna do an 8.5.
Oh, very positive. Connor?
I'm just gonna give it an 8.
Yeah, I was gonna go straight 8 as well, but I'm happy.
It's taking a book that, or a character I don't care about, and I actually look forward to see what happens. So, that's a pretty good, direction for Rosenberg to go.